Welcome back. If you're just joining us, you're watching the news at 10 live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Senator representing Kogi West, Dino Melaye, hospitalized after jumping out of a police van while being conveyed to Lokoja for trial. Lawmakers in the House of Representatives describe as unconstitutional and impeachable purchase of $496 million military aircraft by the executive without legislative approval. Gunmen invade Catholic Church in Benue State, kill at least 19 worshippers, including 2 priests. President Buhari says attack is vile and satanic. And US President Donald Trump threatens big problems for Iran if it resumes its nuclear program after 2015 international agreement. ChannelsTV.com has more information for you, and on youtube.com/channelsweb you can watch our videos. You can also watch us on your mobile device via your browser or download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows devices from their respective stores. Besides giving you access to news updates on the go, the Channels TV and Channels 24 app have an eyewitness feature that you can use to share pictures, videos or news happenings around you. Just install the app, then tap and swipe to reveal the menu and follow the instructions. So those pictures are you sent into our portal. Now we have this one from Orimerumo in Ogun State showing an accident scene. Our eyewitness reporter says this accident, the second of its kind, is in spite of a restriction to the movement of heavy vehicles in the area. We have the next image from Ayemowa Close around Onike in Biaba area of Lagos, showing this bent electricity pole. Eyewitness reporters worried that the pole could fall anytime and asked that proactive steps be taken before it results in deadly occurrence. Our final image is from Lafia, the Nasarawa state capital. It shows cows grazing in front of a school library. He thinks this is dangerous and seeks an end to the practice before it becomes dangerous. Thanks for sending in those pictures, and note that you too can report events as they happen around you. 19 persons have been confirmed killed, including 2 Catholic priests, after suspected armed attack the St. Ignatius Catholic Church in the Gwe East area of Benue State. According to the Commissioner of Police, Mr. Fatai Owoshini, more bodies had been recovered from the scene in Aya Mbalum community, while troops have been deployed in pursuit of the attackers. Mr. Owoshini had briefed the state's deputy governor, Mr. Benson Abonu, who put the death toll at 19 following security reports.
Wailing and anguish at the Bishop Moray Medical Center, Makurdi, as the bodies of the murdered Catholic priests, Reverend Fathers Joseph Gore and Felix Giolaha, are brought in. Mourners crowd the gate of the hospital. Out in the streets of Makurdi, the Benue state capital, there is tension in the air, while security operators remain alert to maintain law and order. The health coordinator of the Makurdi Catholic Diocese, who was among the team that recovered the bodies of the priests, confirmed that 13 persons were killed at the church.
The herdsmen have just killed some priests and parishioners who went for their morning mass early today, and they were ambushed and killed at Ayambalon in Gwe local government of Benue State.
The Benue State Deputy Governor and the Commissioner of Police emerged from a security briefing. The police chief gives details of what he saw at Aya Mbalom.
There's a burial ceremony that was going on early this morning where the priest supposed to officiate, and these attackers came about 30 in number, and the target was the priest and, of course, the venue of the burial ceremony. The wider area surveillance we've deployed people with the help of the people in the community to get into the bush to see if we can still lay hands on these people.
And this is a new dimension of attack. It has never happened before. I also understand There are 17 other people lost their lives, making a total of 19. And you can therefore see why I say this is another black day in the history of Benue State. We are under siege, and I do believe that this has gone beyond the normal herdsmen, farmer crisis. I think it's gone beyond that.
Since the beginning of the year, there have been sustained attacks and killings in communities in Benue State. Even the best efforts of security forces appear to be inadequate in stemming the tide, while the people continue to live in fear, wondering where next the killers will strike.
President Muhammadu Buhari has described as vile and satanic the killing of worshippers and 2 priests at a Catholic church in Gwe East local government area of Benue State. In a statement, the president extends his condolences to the government and people of Benue State over the killings, adding, "This latest assault on innocent persons is particularly despicable. Violating a place of worship, killing priests and worshippers is not only vile, evil, and satanic, it is clearly calculated to stoke up religious conflict and plunge our communities into endless bloodletting." President Buhari vows that the nation will not bow to the killers, whom he promises will be hunted down and made to pay for their crime. The attack on a church in Benue State by suspected armed herdsmen has created a cloud of confusion over the motive of the attackers, as farmlands have always been known to be the target of the assailants. In this next report, our correspondent, Orelua Shonibere, attempts to unravel the mystery behind the recent attack that left 19 people dead.
From what appears to be a one-way aggression on farmers by suspected herdsmen, the latest attack on a church in Benue State, where at least 19 people, including 2 priests, were killed, has thrown open a new dimension to the crisis. If the attack was indeed carried out by herdsmen, how are the victims connected to farmlands, believed to be the primary target of the assailants? If this is a diversionary tactic, what is it intended to conceal? How does this affect the investigation of security agents who already have a major problem identifying those behind the mayhem unleashed on farming communities? With the difficulty apprehending the perpetrators of past attacks in mind, the wailing of the people is probably not only for their loss, but of the fear that this may just be another case where the killers continue to roam free. So the onus is on the agencies handling this matter to arrest the situation. How easy it will be to connect the dots in an already puzzling matter is left to be seen. Orelua Shonibare, Channels Television News.
To take a further look at this disturbing matter, I'm being joined now on the News at 10 live from our Abuja studios by a retired military officer, Major General Cecil Esekaigbe. Major General Esekaigbe, thank you for joining us on the News at 10. What do you make of the continued carnage in Benue State, especially with these new attacks targeting not farmers but worshippers this time?
Well, this is despicable, perilous, and it cause for concern. I mean, this is why we have always referred to the fact that before you can take a proper action in these kind of things, you need a correct diagnosis. Because hitherto it was tagged farmers' headmen clashes. But now one begins to wonder whether there are farmers in the church these days. So this calls for serious attention and an emergency in the security sector.
I don't think you could have put it any better when you say it calls for an emergency, because it almost seems like, you know, the attackers have upped the ante. They're now attacking worshippers in church. All of this has happened despite the deployment of soldiers in Benue State. It does appear that the attacks have intensified. How is this possible?
Yes, the issue there is that the police, which is tasked, you know, with the internal security architecture, is very clear that they're incapable because they are ill-equipped, and they have gotten to the end of the road. They cannot tackle this issue. And the military, which are brought in to support them, there are so many constitutional imperatives they have to follow to be able to support this police in this insurrection. Section 217 of the Constitution, 1999, as amended, clearly spelled out the responsibility of the military, which is to deter external aggression. Although Section 217C also gave a caveat for where they can assist the military, where the military can assist civil populace or civil authority, and where the military can also assist civil power. The military has to be very, very sensitive in the way they come into these things. Without a very clear directives, you can see that the military in most cases have been unduly attacked, as being biased, and as being high-handed in this internal security operation. So there is need to be a legal force to the military assistance to this police in this tackling of internal security apparatus. But one thing is clear, we need to identify who these assailants are. The question of calling them herdsmen calls another question. Are they herdsmen? Herdsmen, do they carry their cattle with rifles and sophisticated weapons? And have Nigerians degenerated to this level of hatred? Do we now hate each other to this sense of this anarchy? We need to really investigate and unmask this assailant, because it's perennial. It's been happening for the past few months and nothing has been done about it.
Major General, you're asking.
Vigilance.
Major General, you're asking and you're answering the same. You're asking the questions, you're also answering them. But I want to pick up something that you said, which is the military is in Benue State, if I heard you right, but they can't, what they can do about this is limited because of the Constitution you mentioned. So are you saying that the military cannot help the people of Benue, against these herdsmen attacks?
The military has come in to assist. But what I'm telling you, they need to be a legal force to their actions, so that at the end of the day, they did not breach the constitutional requirement of not overkilling, which some people have already alluded to them. Some people have said that the military is not trained for internal security operations. And if they are invited to take part in international security operations, they need to be a legal force. There need to be a force, a legal instrument that will ask them to do the job the police are supposed to do. Because the school of thought also say that the military are not allowed police to do their jobs. So where do we come from? If you allow the police and they're not able to do their job, you want to call it the military, there need to be a legal platform for the military to do this assistance they want to give to the police. Rather, some people are saying that they are doing the job of the police. So the military is doing their best within the limitation of constitutional imperative.
Unfortunately, while we're awaiting that legal force that you're talking about, people are dying in Benue State. They're being killed. We just heard about 19 people who died in Benue State in a church. So whose responsibility is it to provide security for people in Benue? If you're saying the police is not equipped enough and then the military do not have legal force, who do we look to in the meantime?
This is why some people are agitating for what they call community policing and even state police, because the policing is so centralized and they don't have the feel for the grassroots. So multi-level policing at all levels will help to stem this ugly tide. And as a matter of fact, you see that a deliberate equipping of the police, a deliberate funding of the police to be able to discharge their responsibility is also key. So the police is charged constitutionally to maintain internal security. If they are not able to do it, that is where the state of emergency should come, where our laws will be revised, where the military will be given a legal force to do what they have to do to stem this tide. But first and foremost, like I said, the important thing is intelligence. Who are these killers? Are they herdsmen? If they are not herdsmen, are they Nigerians that have hated themselves so much? If they are not Nigerians, where are they coming from? And where are they getting the source of, where is the source of these weapons that they are using? So these are the key issues when you're analyzing how to take care of this issue. It is not a knee-jerk solution. It's not a reactive thing that when it happens, then we all come in to say, oh, what do we do? There are deliberate issues that must be taken into consideration, Amarachi.
Well, I'm hoping that all of these questions will be answered in the nick of time. But in the meantime, let's hope that help gets to people in Benue State. Thank you so much for joining us on the News at 10, Major General Cecil Esekaibe. And when the news at 10 returns, Nigeria's investors and exporters forex window clocks 1 year as analysts warn on forex stability. Join us again. We'll have more of that on Business News.